What's up, guys? It's Brian again from Lake Kicker Scuba and Marina. If you're new to our channel, do me a huge favor, hit this little subscribe button right here and ding that little bell as well. That way you guys are going to be notified every time we upload new content. Now, guys, we're down here in the tank room. You have seen all of our tanks before, and this whole entire series of cylinders right here are our side mount bottles. And if you don't know this about us, we are huge side mount fans. We try to side mount dive every chance we get. Whether we're down in the tropics, we're up north under the ice, or even here in our local lake, we side mount dive literally all the time. And it's something that we really have a lot of fun with. And we made a video back in the past. I'm going to link this video right up here where I showed you how I personally make entries, especially down in the tropics off a boat while wearing side mount gear. We even did another video, which I'll link up here. I'll show you how we monkey dive and make entries in a monkey dive or single tank side mount. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you how we make entries here locally when we're diving off smaller vessels, such as say a small center console versus a larger vessel that you would see out in the ocean. I'm going to show you how we tie up ropes to where we can use them as basically tank leashes, and that way we can lay the bottles down in the water regardless of the depth, and then of course we can jump in and put the tanks on. And then at the end of this video I'll give you a couple little pointers that may help you as a side mount diver as well. Alright guys, let me start this out by stating scuba diving is not meant to be difficult. A lot of times I see instructors do things that just make things way too difficult, and when you're teaching students, a lot of times we tend to teach them the hard stuff and instead of making it easy for them to do. And all we've done here is just took a piece of rope and we've attached it to the side of the boat. We've tied two large loops into each side of the rope, so this way two divers who's carrying 2 to 3 bottles apiece can basically clip off all their bottles to the rope, and then we just dangle it over the side. Now we do pre-charge these lines before we put them down in the water, but once they're charged, of course, we do turn them back off. And then we ease them down into the water very carefully. We make sure that the bolt snaps that are attached to these loops are very secure, so they're not just going to slide off. And of course, we have the rope attached to the vessel in a manner that it's not just going to break and come off as well. Now, you'll notice as we put these down in the water, once again, we charge the lines. We very slowly lay them down in the water. That way that the regulators don't just immediately start free flowing. And once again, we charge the lines, then we turn it back off so that if it did free flow, it's not going to drain the cylinder, nor is it going to flood your first stage when you do that as well. But basically, in short, that's literally all we do is we tie rope to the side of the boat and we lay them down in the water. And one of the things as a side mount instructor that I get asked a lot is, well, how do you do it from a boat? And the videos that I showed you at the beginning, I've showed you several different methods of how we jump in wearing the tanks, how we jump in, with holding the tanks in our hand. And on this particular dive that we're fixing to make, we're all going to be carrying 2, 3, maybe even 4 bottles a piece, depending on what our dive schedule is. And you can't really jump in with that many bottles. Yeah, we could roll back off of this, but I don't want to damage the boat here. This boat is too pretty to damage for all intents and purposes, so we're just being very gentle here. We're laying them over the side of the boat and we're putting them in. Now, this lake that we're actually diving, Lake Kiowee, is a very, very popular lake this time of the year, and it can get very wavy. The length of the rope that you decide to use is going to be, personal to you. I think I made the first loop. It's about 2 foot from the edge of the gunnel of the boat here, and then the next one goes down to about 3 foot. So it's just 2 large loops. I can clip off 3, 4 bottles and then very easily set them down. There you can see I'm also clipping off my Deco bottle. Now, once all the bottles are in the water and they're all charged and we don't have to worry about anything, then we can take our time putting our suits on, getting our BCs put on, getting everything prepped and ready, and then of course we can just jump in one at a time, grab our bottles, attach them to us, and then start with the dive. So that's exactly what you're seeing here. We already got 2 divers in the water. They're already one diver's already got his bottles clipped off, got another one grabbing it. Here I'm making my entry. It's just a standard giant stride entry here. And then, of course, once my buddy, we've kind of broke up this dive into two divers per buddy team, if you will. Once my buddy's in the water, then we will just slowly and very methodically go over there. We make sure we grab the right bottle first, which in our case is actually our left bottle. But we want to make sure that we put them on the proper order. And this is where your training really comes into play. If you've took a side mount course, your instructor most likely taught you how to don and doff your equipment here at the surface. And a lot of times times you do that in a swimming pool, maybe in the shallow end, or you can do it in the deep end as well. I always make my students do it in the deep end, and this is a prime example. Why? Because it's about 85 feet below us. If we were to drop one of these bottles, it's going straight to the bottom, and of course we'd either have to free dive it, which we're not going to do that, or we'd have to send a diver off those. So you want to make sure that once you unclip it from the rope, you immediately clip it to yourself. I always do my lower attachments first, so as soon as I attach it or unattach it from the rope here, I immediately clip it down to my lower attachment on my hip, and that way if I do happen to drop the bottle, it's attached to me. It's not going anywhere. And I actually showed you that in a previous video where we were doing monkey diving down in Curacao. I talked about as soon as I hit the water with it, I went ahead and clipped it off. That way I didn't have to really worry about anything. But here you can see we're just taking our time. We're getting our gear adjusted, being very methodical here as we do that. And then, of course, we can start the dive. Now, I'm not actually going to show you this dive in this video. That's going to be for a future video because we've got a lot of editing to do on it, because this was about an hour and a half long dive down to around 85 feet. So we were down there for a very long time. But I will show you how we get back out of the water with these. Now, one thing I didn't mention earlier, the vessel that we're diving, this is actually a vessel that belongs to one of our instructors here, and the ladder that's on the back of the boat is not a good enough ladder to climb while wearing gear. So whether you're in back mount or side mount, either one, you're going to have to remove your gear before you climb the ladder. The ladder just basically cannot support you and the gear. So we're just going to reverse everything that we did. Once we're up to surface, we're going to slowly but surely, one at a time, secure our bottles to the rope, making sure that it's not slamming into the boat, making sure that we do not drop them. Now, one of the things you can do here, as soon as you unattach one of the attachments, whether it's the upper or lower, does not matter, go ahead and clip it to the rope. That way it's clipped to the rope. As you undo the other attachment, whether it's upper or lower, then of course you're not going to drop it, you're not going to lose it. And then one at a time we climb up out of the boat. Now we are going to go ahead and send up one of our divers here, and he's going to be our tank jockey for the remainder of this dive, if you will, or here at the surface. So we're just one at a time going to hand up the bottles to him. We're going to let him get them out of the water, and then once the last bottle is out of the water, then of course the other divers can simply very easily climb up with no weight on, no tanks on, or they probably got weight on, but no tanks on. That's going to beat and bang. We're not going to damage the ladder of the vessel or whatnot, and we can very, very easily get in and out of the boat by simply creating the tank leashes as I've done here. Now, as far as what knots and stuff, it doesn't really matter to me what knots. I've just got, basically I used a figure 8 knot, and I tied 2 large loops, let's call them bunny ears if you will. They're about 2 foot apart on the rope, and then I attached the rope to the railing of the vessel. You can do this to the railing on the gunnel, you can do it on the, say the cleat that's on the side there, whatever you want to attach it to, but basically you can see I just tied knots here, big old loops. They're about 2 foot apart, and of course I can very, very easily clip off multiple bottles to each loop, and these tank leashes worked very, very well. We're actually going to be doing this in the future as well, even here on our vessels. So there you go, guys. That's how easy it is. We basically just tie up a double loop leash system, and the loops don't really matter how big they are as long as you can clip your bottles off to it. And usually if it's just 4 of us, that means we're going to have a minimum of 8 bottles, or it could be upwards of 12 bottles if we're all diving 3 bottles. Maybe we're in a decode or a tech situation. So you want to make sure that they are large enough that you can clip off, but base it off however many divers that's on the vessel with you, and then make you a couple loops, tie them to the cleats there on the side of the vessel, and drape them over the side. And you know, if you remember back from your side mount class, one of the skills you learned is how to don and off the cylinders at the surface. So this is a great, practical reason why we would do this, because we were trained to do it. So guys, let me know down in the comment section below, do you prefer jumping in with your bottles pre-attached, or would you rather have them handed down to you, or would you rather clip them off, jump in, and then clip them on to you? Let me know down in the comment section below what you think. But if you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. If you got any questions, comments, or concerns, drop me a comment down below and we'll discuss. But until our next video, take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.